Welcome, one and all, to another episode of A Scotsman Talks To. I got it right. I've got so many things on my screen now. I'm always getting confused which show I'm doing, but this is it, A Scotsman Talks To, and we have another amazing, fabulous, wonderful guest. Actually, this is a guest who, for the first time I get to say, has been called things like vivacious, has been called captivating, has basically had all these marvelous words said about her. So this is lovely, because the other guys that have had like, they're okay, they're funny, they can act. But this one actually has language. This one has words that I can really get behind and use. I want to thank you all for joining, as always. As this is a weekly show, and as the world is still up and down and going crazy, I hope that you are still tuning in and enjoying this little bit of calm, this little bit of entertainment and joy in the mayhem that is the world. As you know, I don't like to get into it, so we're not going to. But basically, this is August. This is Fringe Month in any performer's world. And our guest this evening has performed in the same kind of fringes that I have. In fact, I'm really excited because she's been to Edinburgh. And that means a lot, because that means somebody who actually understands chaos in its purest form. Because Edinburgh is chaos, it's mayhem, it's madness, and any other fringe is lovely, but it's not anything like Edinburgh. So, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, without any more pomp or ceremony, without any more, actually, I've got to read this one. I really like this. This is a quote about our guest, okay? Sweet and nostalgic. She's like a Disney princess from the Lower East Side. I love that. I mean, it says it all to me. It's just a cracking quote. So, ladies and gentlemen, without any more words from me, let's bring on our guest. Tonight's guest on A Scotsman Talks To is a beautiful singer, a wonderful person. I've said it about another guest, but I'm going to say a little ball of energy that I've encountered just from chatting to her before the pre-show stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome. I will introduce you. Welcome Melanie Gall to A Scotsman Talks To. Melanie, how are you?
Hello.
I'm my words are going all over the place tonight. I do apologize. It's one of those days. How are you? Are you doing well? You're up in Edmonton?
I am up in Edmonton right now, currently the COVID capital of Canada. So welcome to Edmonton, but maybe don't come here or you'll die.
Let's just have a round of applause for Edmonton. Yay!
People, yay!
Wow, when did this happen?
I think, well, it happened after the August long weekend. In Canada, if you're not a Canadian, we have a random long weekend in August. No, it doesn't have a name. Everyone keeps asking, what's it called? I'm like, the August long weekend is a long weekend where basically people go out and, spread the plague. And now Plague Mageddon has hit Edmonton more than anywhere else. And I'm just going to never go out again. So, yeah.
Well, yeah. As I was telling you on the pre-chat, I get my phone still a UK phone. So I actually get updates from the UK. They went up another 1,093 cases today.
Okay, we're here in St. Albert. We're at 14 cases.
Oh, no, I'm talking about a whole country. But yeah.
Okay, but it's gonna go up. It's okay. But Edmonton is high. Edmonton is higher than you are right now, but not that high. Not as high as my phone is a New York phone because I still pretend I live there. It makes you important and sophisticated.
Oh yes. So
yes.
I like New York. I visited once, always meant to go back. To be honest, this shows you how long ago it was, pre 9/11 for me.
I moved there the year after, so I guess we just missed each other, and now we'll never meet, except maybe next year.
I know, this is it. All performers are now isolated to camera work. I mean, so Melanie, to kick things off before we get rambling and having fun, because you were even saying stuff in the just before we came live that has got me kind of laughing and going, I need to ask about that. But because some people may not know who you are, heaven forbid, as I say, how dare they? Damn their very eyes.
Damn their very eyes.
Would you like to introduce yourself and just tell us all a wee bit about yourself?
All right. Well, I am from St. Albert, Alberta. I escaped, never to come back, so I'm here. now forever. Anyway, so yes, I'm from St. Albert. I moved to New York and I actually have 5 degrees in opera performance. So I was going to be an opera singer. My whole life was I was going to be an opera singer. And then I was doing extra, because it's New York, right? I was doing extra work on Law and Order. I was a body double for a pregnant 16-year-old, not pregnant, good singing muscles. So I was, anyway, that was money. So I was doing that, and I met Kurt Fitzpatrick, one of your former guests, I believe.
Last week.
We met when we were both stealing food from craft services. And he's like, have you ever heard of the Fringe? And I was like, oh, you're nice to meet you. Let's like take our food. And I grew up near Edmonton, so I'm like, of course I've heard of the Fringe. And he's like, have you ever thought of doing it? I was like, well, I don't know, but I mean, it's gotta be better than, stealing food from craft services. So I did it, and that was 2009. And I don't sing opera full time much at all anymore. Now I completely changed my career. I'm a music historian. I research historic music, often lost songs, sometimes songs that aren't as lost, but songs songs that will never get me sex at the Fringe, because my audience is an older audience, but historic songs from the 1920s, 1940s,
wow.
And I chose around those songs. So I'm saving history, and that's what I do now for the most part. And plus, I'm touring the world, because it's not just the Fringe. I perform all over the world. When this plague hit, I was in India on the way to Abu Dhabi to perform. And then overnight, I was at the breakfast buffet at the hotel in India. And my mom had been saying, come home, it's not safe. I'm like, it's fine. There's the billboard across from the hotel saying, wash your hands. It's fine. It'll be fine. And then I talked to a few more people, and they're like, you're going to go home. So I cut it. Everything got canceled that morning, and I came home. So
yeah. It's a story I've heard of a lot of people. Sadly, they're like, yeah, and then
it was worse for me, because I was just in Australia before that. I was at the Fringe there, and I was doing a tour of England after Abu Dhabi, after Doha. I had a whole bunch of performances around the world, and I was heading to tour Northern England, and I sent my suitcase there because I figure I don't want to have all that stuff with me. I'll pick it up in England. So it's still there.
Oh no.
So all my stuff is sitting in someone's shed, I hope, waterproof shed up in Newcastle upon Tyne, and I don't have it. So
did someone get it for you?
I hope so. I mean, yes, probably.
We know lots of people out there. I'm sure we could get it retrieved.
It's probably living in a garden shed. It's probably having all sorts of. It's fine. I mean, I'm sure that bathing suit dried eventually.
Well, that's going to be a delightful smell to encounter.
That's why I hope people look at me and think delightful smell.
And all that caviar you packed in there, and the lettuce.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's fantastic. I love the fact that Kurt, because Kurt was our last week's guest. Mm-hmm. And oddly enough, our 2 previous guests both mentioned you without realizing you were coming on.
Who? I told you watch your show.
Well, haven't you just landed yourself in it?
Yeah, no, they're great. They were great. Whoever they definitely, I know.
You know them both. Kurt was one, and John Houston.
Oh, John is great. John's funny.
Yeah, John's lovely. So they both actually brought you up before without realizing that you were coming on.
Oh.
And obviously, because you haven't watched what they said, I will say they were so lovely and polite about you. No, they were. Yeah, you were reverence and respect.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely reverential and respectful about them both all the time.
I love it. So you trained as an opera singer, and you're now actually. I've researched you, and I know you did a lot of singing, but I must have bypassed that slightly. I'm even looking at your bios on the screen, because this is fantastic. This makes you my second opera singer, and that to me, that puts the level of this show up. You know, these
I
actors.
think the Scottish accent puts the level of the show up.
No, but you know, these actors and comedians, I mean, come on, they're riffraff. And now opera singer.
Oh, well, I mean, maybe, but I mean, it doesn't go in the bio a lot, but I mean, I sang at Lincoln Center, I sang at Carnegie Hall. I had a pretty good career, man. But then,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, opera singers are mean, and Fringe people, it was like come on, they're kind of, and so, you know, they were fine, but you know what? You meet the Fringe people, they're amazing, and kind of,
Yeah.
you know,
Well, you know what? I will defend one opera singer, and that's Frank D'Ambrosio,
okay.
who is a dear friend of mine. He was one of the longest running Phantoms. He was one of my third or fourth guest. And he is just an absolute angel. That man is just a delight.
They're not all.
Yeah.
I mean, I was living in New York and singing opera, so I think it was a little bit maybe more cutthroat.
I am surprised you never crossed paths with him then, because he worked in New York for years as well. And he teaches singing and acting. He was also the Godfather in The Godfather. You know him. Just don't even lie. You're anyway, this is about you, not anyone else.
Me.
This is all about you. Put on your diva face. This is about you.
All right, I'm ready.
Okay, so basically, this show is very relaxed, as everyone knows, and it's a lot of fun. So I'm going to say, Melanie admitted before she came on, she'd brushed her hair for the first time in a while just to come on.
Not a secret.
Now, somebody's already jumping in with a question here, and I'm going to ask it because it just let me scan it. Yeah. You do music history and singing. Do you have any other musical talents?
I bought an accordion. It was very expensive. I thought the more you pay, the easier it will be to play. It's red. So I toured with it. I actually toured the Fringe Circuit of Canada with it one summer, figuring I'll just pick it up in my spare time. It'll be fine. So it's very heavy to tour across Canada. I know, and I don't really play it. I'd like to play it. I've been saying this for 7 years since I got this. It's upstairs. I'm here at my mom's house where I live forever now, and it is upstairs. It had been relegated to my mom's house too, and we're both here. So no, I mean I sing. I would love to say like I write songs about my feelings, but I don't. I can play piano a little, but I mean, I have a grand piano. It's in New York in storage because I lived in New York before I started touring. I figured I'd get it eventually, and it's a mob-owned storage place. They haven't charged me in a while, so it might not be there anymore, or they might just show up like the Godfather. They'll be like a piano leg in bed with me.
Oh God. Wow. I appreciate that because they're not exactly the smallest things to be able to move around.
I know, it's so beautiful though.
Yeah. No, you sound like me. I always have this idea that I want to learn musical instruments. Mm-hmm. So I'll go buy them and then look at them and say, oh, isn't that a nice ornament? And that's pretty much it.
I mean, there's a guitar in the basement here I bought years ago. So I was thinking, you know, I should pick up guitar. How hard could it be? So it's probably quite hard. So.
Yeah, I've got 2 guitars, a ukulele, tin whistles, a baran. My wife keeps wanting to teach me piano. Basically, I don't know how much of it will ever happen.
I mean, I have a Baroque alto recorder here, which was another phase that didn't really happen. I thought I'd play Baroque music on the alto, whatever. The point is, no, I mostly research music, I write about music, I sing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's it. I'm a great believer. Just stick to your strengths. You know, you research, you write, and you're a beautiful singer. Just that. What more do you need?
I mean, I'd love to play that damn accordion, but like otherwise it's okay.
I just love the fact that you bought an expensive accordion under the principle of thinking, well, it's more expensive. It will be easier to learn because it's got less keys, less functionality. What?
It's actually got more keys than usual. It's got but it's beautiful. It's handmade in Germany. It is the most expensive thing I've ever bought in my life. I've never owned a car. I've never owned. No, it's this handmade accordion that it's either that or my kidneys if I run out of money, I suppose. And I like the accordion. So.
And you took that touring on the Fringe.
I had it in Winnipeg. I was just trying to, I figured where are you going to practice? You're billeting. So I was on the corner in Winnipeg, just sort of playing my accordion. And a police officer actually crossed the street, like in downtown Winnipeg, and said, you know what happens if you leave that accordion alone, don't you? And I was like, am I in trouble? What happens? He's like, someone will give you 3 more. And I'm like, you crossed the street to insult my accordion. That hurt.
Well, that's what they say about the bagpipes as well. So it's okay.
Yeah. So it toured for an entire summer. That was a bad choice.
This is the thing, we all have time to learn new skills, and I really want to get a Zoom meeting going with people and actually say, okay, so we all made these promises, we're all going to learn new skills. How many of you have actually followed up on it, or how many of us have just binge watched Netflix for the last 3 months?
I learned to cut my own bangs, which, looking at the video, I didn't do a very good job. That was my new skill, is just like, so yeah, no, they're terrible, but I learned how to do it today. So that is my skill.
Oh, no. I love it. No, it's okay. This is good. Out of all the home haircuts I've seen or trims, that's pretty good.
Well, my mom did the rest. My mom actually cut my hair. We did it on video so everyone could see in slow motion, like the disaster, but it was good. In the end, it was good. But yeah, the bangs I did. So
lovely. Oh, and look who's just jumped on to say hello. John Houston has popped on to say hello, saying, can you see your comment? No, you're on your phone. I
cannot. I trust you.
Hi, Melanie. Anne-Marie and I are watching this snuggled together in a pair of my comfy harem pants.
I think I spent all last summer insulting his comfy harem pants. They're adorable. He's not that big a guy, and
John is just probably one of the most lovely guys I've met on the Fringe, and he's going to be sitting there beaming because he had a lovely show. He's learned to play the ukulele and watched a lot of Netflix, so he's saying he at least did 50% of achievement.
Nice, good for you, John. I miss you. Yeah.
Right, Melanie. John, stop hogging the show again.
John.
I know he's a terrible man. So let's at least get 1 or 2 questions out to you, because what usually happens is I end up asking 1 or 2 of the set list of questions, and then we just ramble and meander. But if I only ask 1 question, the main one I think is always the most important, and that's basically to find out how it all began. To get an idea of your origin story. They're big in the movies, so I'm sticking to it.
Okay.
How did you get from your origins to where you are now? Tell us your story, your passion. What gets you out of bed in the morning, or did get you out of bed in the morning?
Well, okay, I grew up here in St. Albert in this house, so nothing actually I've gotten from here to here. But what happened was I always sang. My grandfather was a big band singer. His father was a cantor, so like we're Jewish, and he would sing in synagogues. So I mean, in every generation, there's been someone who sang, and my mom sings also, and she plays piano. So there's always been one person who was musical. And when I was a little kid, they're like, she has the voice. So it was always going to be music. That was always going to be what happened. So I went to university and I did an opera degree because I couldn't dance. I don't dance. So I mean, I don't dance at all. So it was opera. And then I went to another university and then another. And then 5 degrees later, I was in New York, like I said, singing opera. And it was amazing, and international career. And then started with historic music and Fringe and international career. And then full circle, I now am in the same bedroom, in the same bed, decorated how it was back when it's my childhood. It's like I died as a child and the room didn't change. Because, artists don't really move out. You just sort of take what you need. And then it's 30 years later and your childhood bedroom is the same. So, yeah, nothing's changed and everything's changed. And that's my origin story. I always was going to sing. I was always going to be a singer. Wasn't quite sure how. I used to win competitions as a kid, like singing. And this is what I do. So there was no big revelation. This was always going to be a singing career in some way or form.
So that was the fastest origin story I have ever been given.
Sorry, I told the crew.
No, don't ever apologize. I love it. It's succinct and to the point, and it's great. And the fact that you've always had this passion. So How did you know though? I mean, what was the inner voice that kept telling you this was the way you had to go? I mean, is there anything like that, or was it just you were very driven and you knew?
I really like getting presents and applause. And I thought, if I'm a veterinarian, no one's going to be like, you saved the hamster. Here's some flowers. So I mean, how do you get attention, applause, presents, and you get to wear a pretty dress or a costume? Like, come on.
Sweet and nostalgic. She's like a Disney princess. You just wanted to be a Disney princess, didn't you? You wrote that quote yourself, didn't you?
I did not, but yes, I did. I mean, who doesn't kind of want to be?
I don't know. I always thought the frocks wouldn't suit me.
I actually think they would. I think you'd look quite good.
Probably. I look good in everything.
Right?
No, I love that. That's incredibly honest, Melanie, and actually it makes me laugh because
Come on.
You get to wear nice clothes, you get presents, you get applause, and you basically get to be, and I'll use that term, the center of attention. And a lot of performers are shy to admit that, oh, I do it for such and such. And I'm like a lot of people look at me really funny. I'm like, so why do you do this, Calum? It's like, well, one, I do love it. Two, I do love the attention. And three, well, I like to make money.
I mean, I also like to make money. I also like how in performing arts, at least, before it all fell apart. So in performing arts, like, initiative is rewarded. You do a good job, you make money. That's the reality. I know so many people who work at good jobs, but at their job, if they do something, it's expected they'll do something good, and that's that. But if I think of an idea no one else is doing, or write a show that gets 5 stars, I get money. You get, or you don't if you do a bad decision. But it is, things are constantly a gamble. It's constantly interesting, and it's constantly intellectually challenging. And I hear so many people who say they go to work just to work, and they want to turn off their brain at the end. And I'm just like, I would hate that. I don't want to not live half my life. So I love doing this. Plus the travel. I mean, I'm sure all of us artists, how many once in a lifetime opportunities or once in a lifetime adventures have you had? Like, so many, and often it's not just once. So I've had some crazy adventures all over the world thanks to performing. You get sort of an in into other cultures, or an in into experiences. You don't travel as a tourist. So it's just, of course they do this,
I agree. You don't need to tell me. I love this.
Okay, done.
I absolutely love. I love the fact that you're being so honest, because I have spoken to so many performers. Most of the people I've interviewed have been very relaxed. For example, John hates traveling. He's always said that he's not a fan of the travel. If he could, what was it? He came up with, if he could fly, he'd be happy, because he hates planes and things like that. It's just, they're a nuisance. And to be honest, they're bloody uncivilized things, really. Are you always traveling first class?
No, but I'm 5 feet tall. I got a lot of legroom. Like, this is the thing. First, I get the legroom. Second, I can glare at people, and often I'll get an empty seat beside me because I look really mean. And third, sometimes if you're really, really, really nice to the flight attendants, they'll move you up. So I mean, I've gotten bumped quite a bit just from being either like exhausted looking or nice sometimes.
I usually get loads of booze off them.
Okay, for that.
I don't know why, but whenever I was like, this always happened. I'm always very polite anyway when I fly, because I appreciate there's idiots out there. But yeah, the flight attendants, I've been bumped up a couple of times, but quite often when it's like, oh, what would you like to drink? Oh, I'll have a red wine, and they usually give me 3 bottles. Just put another couple aside, and I'm like, this is good.
I usually don't, because I'm mostly vegetarian, and I usually don't order a vegetarian meal, but I'll bring snacks, because the vegetarian meals are terrible. But then you get there and there's no vegetarian options, so you're sort of like, what am I supposed to eat? And then they bring you a first class meal. So I mean, I'm the only one with a real knife and fork sitting there eating like this delicious thing they find, while everyone else is eating like plastic food. So it's a game. It's a game when you're on planes. Like, how do you get presents? How do you get treats? So yeah,
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I'm just thinking about all the flights. So here's a key tip. This one might not work for you, but for any gentlemen out there, wear your kilt on a flight.
Ooh, please wear your kilt.
All the perks.
I want to see more kilts on flights. That would make me so happy, especially for blue tartan.
Don't get me wrong, a 10-hour flight in a kilt is hell. and you
Okay.
generally get to your destination with ridge lines across the back of your legs and buttocks. But
I mean, anyone sitting for 10 hours has ridge lines across their buttocks. Right, John Huston?
oh, right. Well, there's a story that I need to get John back on to find out about. No, I love the fact you're being honest. Now, you have traveled, you've performed everywhere. Do you have a favorite destination?
I mean, it feels like I'm sucking up you to say Scotland, but I'd say three. I've got three favorite destinations. One is my grandfather's from Glasgow. I love Scotland, specifically Edinburgh. And I have been there when the festival isn't on. I went for a friend's wedding. I've been there a couple other times. So it's not just going because, I mean, I love Edinburgh Festival. I've been there 4 times. So, I mean, I love it. But also, I love the city. I love the people. I have so many friends that either live close to there or there. So, Edinburgh, I love it. Prague, I love Prague. I used to perform there every year. I haven't performed there in a while, but there are beautiful flowers in Prague in bouquets that people give you on stage. But like they're the most beautiful bouquets in the world were from Prague. But no, like
Okay. I'm getting an image here that your list is basically done on the gifts you receive.
Actually, I was gonna say Australia, but Adelaide. This is a gift somebody gave me. They knit this for me. His name is Hoppy. So yeah, it is. I got great gifts in Australia.
That's awesome.
I know, he's so cute. Anyway, they gave him his own seat on the airplane because I had no room in my luggage. I was just like, anyway, so
you really do work it, don't you?
I do. So but also, I mean, I don't know, everywhere. I love everywhere. I love Sudan. I've sung in Khartoum twice, and I have to say that since that is one of the only places I've been where there are no American companies at all.
Okay.
At all. So there's a Starbucks, which is not Starbucks. Starbucks. They had like the Starbucks label coming out of a box. So like it's clearly not. It's an off-license Starbucks. But I mean, just everyone was so nice. I had a really good time in Khartoum. I have to say I would love to go back. So that was another place. But yeah, just everywhere is great, but especially when there's nice flowers.
Yes, yeah. And how are the flowers from Edinburgh, may I ask?
Usually dying it because it's so damn cold in August. In Edinburgh, it's upstairs. I don't have it. Someone gave me a piece of art. And someone knit a poppy because I was doing a show about historic knitting songs. This is why I was getting knitted gifts. So I got a World War II knitted poppy there. So some decent gifts, some good gifts also. And gingerbread. I have friends who make me gingerbread every time I come. So homemade gingerbread. Edinburgh is lovely.
Wow, we probably actually know similar people from Edinburgh. We must chat and find out what mutual acquaintances we have. I love that though, because you've hit on something very interesting that a lot of people don't get, and I try and explain this to them. At the moment, Canada is getting hit with quite a lot of heat waves and heat warnings.
Mm-hmm.
We are in August.
Yes.
Scotland in August can literally be a heat wave one day, and by that I mean 15 degrees is a heat wave in Scotland, or it can be snowing the next day. It can be heavy rain, high winds. It can be miserable minus temperatures. It's just a stramash of weather, and nobody understands how challenging the Edinburgh Fringe is because it's 26 odd days of unpredictable weather.
Even more than that, though. So the weather goes unpredictable between the morning and the evening. So you go out in the morning, you often aren't staying in the city or you're not staying downtown, right? So by the time you go out dressed in either everything or nothing, by the end of the day, whatever you wore is wrong. No matter what it is, it's rain boots, it's hot. If it's wellies, that was hot, rain boots. Okay, but if it's I brought winter boots. I brought winter boots before. Just nothing you pack is going to be right. But also things don't dry. That is the one problem. Unless I was lucky enough one year to stay somewhere where they had a heated towel rack, that was great. But except for that, things don't dry. So when something gets wet, especially if it's If it's woolen, it's wet. You're done. It's wet forever.
Yeah, okay. So I'm just going to throw this image at you. Harris tweed waistcoat, Harris tweed jacket, kilt, which is, of course, wool socks, and you're out in Edinburgh Fringe.
Look, at least you don't have any underwear to get wet underneath.
Now, madam, that is a myth or a legend which is never discussed publicly.
You did say after 10 hours of the flight, if you had something to protect you, would not have had. You gave that one away, sir.
Okay. I love how John. You know what? I love this. John's defending Edmonton Fringe. Sounds like Edmonton Fringe, and it's like, no, John. This is the one time that I'll say no. There is nothing like Edinburgh Fringe or the weather conditions.
Edmonton Fringe will have that one day, and that one day happened like about a week ago here, where it's beautiful, and then one storm comes and summer's over. And after that, it's fall. It can be a hot fall, but like summer doesn't smell like summer's done. So Edmonton Fringe does have that day. But no, Edinburgh, the skies are so beautiful though, and there's always milkshakes, so it's okay.
And can I ask, how much did Edinburgh teach you how to drink?
It didn't, because I was doing 3 shows a day, including a children's show at 10 in the morning. So no, I was pacing everything there. See, this is why I'd love to go back. Well, I was supposed to go back this summer and do 2 shows a day, because then you can at least go out and be a little bit more irresponsible than
it's very dangerous, actually. Yeah.
So,
but the reason I'm asking is because you've made all the comments about the weather there, and you gave a beautiful example of Edinburgh, which I love. And the one thing that you obviously haven't experienced is, so you take a small wardrobe out with you during the day and nothing ever works. But by the evening, you're walking around in basically, let's just say for most people, like jeans and a t-shirt, no matter what the weather, because you've put enough alcohol in your system to nullify all the weather conditions. That's why we drink so much in Scotland.
See, I should try. I've never tried. I should try. Okay. Usually I just knit something. You're okay. I haven't done it right.
That brings me to the one point I wanted to bring. You actually made a comment before about knitting.
Mm-hmm.
And I need to find out more about this, because you mentioned that there's pandemonium, there's chaos in the world, and knitting is also there.
Yes, there's this is going to sound really random unless you're a knitter, so I'll be quick about it, but there is current pandemonium in the knitting world. Now, knitting, I'm going to sound crazy, I do 2 shows about knitting songs, historic knitting songs. So, it's business. I like knitting, but I'm not like a crazy knitter. I know a lot of crazy knitters. If you're listening, I love you guys. Buy my CD. But if you're not listening, do
you have a CD to show?
I don't have them here. Darn it! I have 2 CDs of World War knitting songs, though. But I actually, and one of the knitting songs has been licensed twice by the BBC, and is being licensed again for one of the shows. So almost the only money I'm making during quarantine is licensing fees for knitting music. So hey, you never know. You never know it's gonna work. But the knitting world is falling apart. Also, it's been crazy watching it. I guess there was Facebook for most of us, and there's knitting Facebook called Ravelry for the knitters. So it's a whole different community. There are 9 million members. It's a whole thing. But basically, they did a revamp of the webpage after, 10 years. So the first time they revamped the page, it's giving people migraines. It's making people sick. There's a big fight between the people who want them to put the page back and the people who designed the page, and it's a whole bunch of drama, and it's the knitters get really angry, and it's just been like, I didn't think the knitting world could ever fall apart the way it has. So knitting drama. I'm just sort of singing knitting songs and watching it go down.
Now, would you say the knitting community is very cutthroat? I'm intrigued by this. Will people effectively go at each other with their I'm going to say number 1 and number 2 needles or something? Or I know you get the ones on the wire. Like, I could see someone trying to garrote someone. Are they quite aggressive?
They're more like catty. Not about this. This is actually a legitimate issue. Some people can't access their their knitting Facebook anymore, and designers are selling patterns. But knitters get really catty about some things, like people who don't use good yarn, people who use real wool as opposed to fake wool. Like my mom, who's listening, she's in the other room. She mostly has fake wool, and I think she should just spend the money and get beautiful real yarn to. And she's a crocheter, which is another thing.
You have just thrown your mother to the wolves.
I love you, Mom. She made me suffer tonight. Anyway, yeah, so there's knitting versus crocheting, and then like knitting with good yarn or expensive yarn versus other yarn. And this, yeah, knitting is fraught. You think opera singing's fraught? Knitting is fraught. But and then, you know, people, how to knit? Would you start your sock at the bottom, at the top? It's just it's too much, guys. It's just so much knitting drama in the world. I know.
Thank you, Melanie. That's wonderful.
Go on Twitter, go look up hashtag knitting, and it's very likely someone is angry about something. So
really, and they seem so serene and happy. I mean, I was always told knitting was relaxing, and now I'm thinking, like, I'm an angry person at times, so I'm just thinking maybe I would like take out half a continent with knitting or something.
They're very sharp needles. Yeah. They're very. I mean, I've had knitting needles taken. My sister has had knitting needles taken away from her at the airport, and she looks way more innocent than I look. So
that's
yeah.
Wow, you've opened up the world, a dark side of the world that I never knew even existed.
Yeah, but I mean, the good thing is people make you hobbies.
I love that. That's wonderful. You know what? Okay, so I'm just going to make this statement now to anyone who avidly follows me. Where's my gifts? How come everyone else gets gifts? I get none. This is outrageous.
Yeah, why don't do you don't ever get gifts? People
I'm stamping my feet as I speak. No, I've had a couple of wee things. Like, for example, I will say this. There's a family in Edmonton who are like my second Canadian family who always bring me Iron Brew at the Fringe. They're wonderful.
Okay. That's,
you know, so that's always good. But you're getting flowers. Where's my goddamn flowers? Where's my tiara?
Oh God, I want a tiara. Next, I have toured with a tiara before. I have gone to festivals with the tiara, not in Canada, but yeah, I've done that. Maybe we all do want to be princesses in the end.
Well, actually, Jessup, one of my friends, he's like, who wouldn't want to be a princess? And he's pretty sure he could rock it.
Right, there you go. You know, every guy looks good in probably in a tiara or a cami or just like, you know, or a kilt. You know, you guys are built for that kind of thing more than we are. But maybe not. You'd have to have hair like the tiara.
Well, that's I do have a follicle issue, which I could just embed it, you know,
with your knitting needles.
Yeah, just
yeah.
Wow, knitters, that's terrifying. Okay, let's get back to the real world.
Good idea. Good idea.
Knitting. Wow. Okay, that's going to haunt me for a while. So you mentioned you did a lot of study. You did 5 university courses. Did I pick that up right?
It seemed like a good, okay, I started young, and often in classical music, you follow the teacher you want to study with. So I wasn't like, I'm going to do a master's degree here. It was more like, here's the teacher I want to study with. You audition for the program, you get in, you study. Here's another teacher, you audition for another program. But yeah, I have 5 degrees. They're upstairs in the cupboard with my accordion. They're still in their original envelopes. I've never actually used them yet.
Okay, well, okay. No, this is good. So you did a lot of study then. You followed that path. Mentors, because a lot of people there's a very mixed bag on this. When I got into storytelling, I worked with a few mentors, but kind of only loosely because I wanted to kind of follow my own path. And some people really dedicate themselves to having 1 or 2 full-time mentors. So you did a lot of university and a lot of training. Was there anybody who really influenced you throughout that journey?
There wasn't really. I'd love to be able to say like this person did. I mean, vocally, there are a lot of singers I listen to that you can I mean, when you learn the pedagogy behind the singing, you listening to people, you actually can learn quite a lot about how to sing in those different styles. But an actual person who was there, not really. To be honest, I had good teachers. I had a lot of good teachers, but none of them actually said, "Here, I will take you and your career in hand," and sort of, that would have been, honestly, I'd still be with classical music if that had happened, I think.
Right. Okay.
It's just, yeah, it was a bit of a factory. It felt a lot like a factory. As long as you had your $250 an hour for lessons or whatever it was, American, 10 years ago, then they're great. But the minute you don't, they're not so great. So, no, I didn't really have any mentors, but I did have a lot of good instructors on the way.
Okay. So how did you feel about that? That's what I'm finding interesting is the way you've worded that, the kind of factory concept. Do you feel that you still got good education, or do you feel it was just a kind of process that had to be done?
I mean, I did. I was really lucky. I know about the year after I graduated, my last, I went, okay, the universities were University of Alberta. That one was, it was okay. It was okay. It was a long time ago. Their classical music department was not, I don't know any opera singers who ever actually came out of there. I mean, people would just sort of do it and then go on to do something else. So I did that. I went to University of Western Ontario, which was fine. That was only a year there. I went to Glen Gould School in Toronto. That was a new program there. That was their first year of doing this degree program. So I mean, they were still sort of figuring things out, and it was kind of overshadowed by the University of Toronto opera program. They were like 100 steps away, the two buildings, and the other one sort of got all the money and got all the attention. And then I did two in New York, and the last one was at Manhattan School of Music. So that was the big one, the big one that I am still paying back.
Yeah.
10 years later, even with the scholarship. So no, that was the big degree. And that one, my class had 7 people in it, so I was fine. But the year after me, they let in 35 people because they needed more money. So I mean, I was okay, but like you could sort of see how things were on the cusp of changing. And I got a really good education. I was really lucky. I got in some really great young artist programs all over the world. But as soon as I sort of finished doing those, you could see how it changed pretty quickly. The whole world, this was after the economy crashed in 2008. So the whole world sort of changed to money. Everyone needed money. The smaller companies that I got to perform in closed down. So I have watched it all go to hell before. This is the second time that everything is sort of shut down in a way.
Yeah, that's the downside. Yeah. It's history is repeating itself a lot.
Yeah, I didn't get any taller either. It's not fair, man.
I love that throwaway comment. Well done.
What I do.
So you did your time, you've done your education, and are you a great believer in just going out there and doing it then? I mean, are you one of those kind of performers that's like, yeah, I've kind of got my grounding, but the only way I can do this is really to get out there and make it happen?
Well, I mean, when it comes to like vocal technique, you're always studying and you're always learning. I mean, we were taught in opera school how to sing opera. That's it. I mean, singing in a microphone in a recording studio is very different. Singing in a microphone on stage, singing in a microphone at all. We didn't ever sing in a microphone in 13 years of degree programs. We not at any point. I mean, we were given a wig mic, but we were never taught like how to hold a microphone. Anyway,
which is a really difficult technique because every microphone is different.
Yeah, we weren't taught how to judge. We weren't taught how to mix our own sound because often, especially at a Fringe festival or any festival, or even at a legitimate theater I've gone to sing at, the sound person doesn't always know how to deal with vocal sound or with higher vocal sound. So you need to go in and say like, no, the levels aren't right. The high is too high. So I've had to figure this out as I go. So there was a lot of gaps in education. How to write a press release, never learned that. I mean, that is an important thing. Everyone should know how to write a bio, how to write a press release. So I mean, yeah, I got a lot of pedagogic education, but as far as actually useful things, apart from how to sing pretty and bow and walk like a 17th century lady, which I do know, but everything else you sort of had to learn on the fly. How to that microphones have different frequencies in the UK than Canada. You cannot bring your wireless mic and expect it to work. Surprise!
Effects and military systems and
just things with singing about how we didn't learn how to belt at all. I mean, that's something that was very handy. We didn't learn how to work with a jazz trio. You know, we know how to sing with the piano following us, but we didn't learn how to work with the trio. So there was so much that I have had to learn on the fly, or how to write jazz charts. I don't know how to do it. I know people who do it for me, but I mean, things like that not everyone reads a score, that you have to, sometimes all you need is a bunch of chords on a paper. Things like that. I've learned, it's been a huge education doing, because I mean, my shows are, I'd say 70% singing and 30% narrative. So I'm still dealing with music all the time, how to make good backtracks. You see a lot of shows people are performing where they just use shitty karaoke tracks. I mean, I record my backtracks for the show. You know, I spend most of the money developing a show is in the recording backtracks or hiring live musicians. But when you're touring, I also learned it is easier to just record backtracks, unless it's a big concert at like Royal Albert Hall, then you hire a trio. So just things like that. It's just been a lot of learning, yep. A lot of mistakes, a lot of learning.
Yeah. One of the things actually I want to kind of go back to though, because it's one of those points I like to emphasize, and you kind of hit on it. And you mentioned the press kit. Yes. You mentioned things like that. Now, one of the things I don't think a lot of people realize is that when you're a performer, when you're an entertainer, no matter what field you're in within that category, there is so much that needs to be done in the background, and everyone sees what we do on stage, but they don't see that work. So how much of your work, because I'm presuming you do your own booking, or are you fancy enough to have?
I have in the UK, I have an agent who does my booking in the UK. So I'm like a little fancy. Some of my overseas bookings with your agents in Australia, I have a booker who works sometimes for me, and in Canada, sometimes I have a booker. But I'd say like 70% is me, and then 30% of the bookers. So,
yeah. So, because that's one thing a lot of people don't know. They don't realize that, like for myself, for example, you know, I do all my booking, my websites, all my contact, all my admin, all my performance work, scripts, all my recording, audio, editing, everything's me, right? Like solo, no help other than encouragement. You know, when I want to bang my head off a wall, or I'm a raging Scottish scream monster because something is not working. How much of you is your business, and how much is, shall we say, and I don't want to belittle it, like a little bit of support and aid?
I don't get a lot of support and aid. I mean, some of the bookings are gotten for me, but even with those bookings, I'm providing the press kit. I'm providing, I'm sure you know, in the UK, often they want posters that they can overprint. So here in Canada, either a place, if you're hired, and I'm talking outside the print, if you're hired at a theater, they'll either print your posters or you will send them posters. In the UK, the tradition is you send them posters with like a white space where they print their information. But if you're not living in England, you don't have a stack of like 10,000 posters that you can just grab 50 and send them. So I am ordering posters every time a theater wants them. Definitely, I do my own audio editing. Video editing, I do a little, but I do pay someone to do it. And sometimes I pay a graphic designer to fix my graphics or to make my picture look prettier. Like I have paid people a few times to do my posters, and they are frankly quite a lot better than the ones I do. It's worth throwing money at a poster because that sells a show. I mean, you make that money back. But
I do sad face when I basically will go to some of my marketing and design guys and just kind of look pitiful, and they're just like, oh my God, give it to me. You know, I'm very lucky. Occasionally I get that wee bit of help, but yeah, like yourself, it's all, you know, we can't afford to throw money on expensive things. So
other people can't write a press release for our own show as well as we can. To be honest, they don't know what will sell our show, and we do.
Yep. So. And I'll be brutally honest. Press kits, I'm still learning press kits.
Yeah.
There's so many aspects of this industry that, you know, they're new. They're always evolving and changing. And like a lot of my bookings, fine. And then all of a sudden someone says, oh no, I need A, B, C, D. And then you've got to go and research it. You've got to spend hours figuring out exactly what that is they want and how to put it together. And
Yep. Or like when they want a drawing of the stage, a stage schematic. I'm like, dude, it's me in front of a microphone in the middle of the stage for an hour. And they're like, well, we need a drawing. I was like, okay, I will, this little stick person, the little microphone, and like that. Really, here you are. But they still
I've
do
done. The Edmonton Fringe, whenever they ask for that stage drawing, it's like literally, here is the stage. Here is a stick figure. Sometimes I try and put a kilt on it for fun. That's it.
Right? I know.
It's like, what lighting do you need? Well, I like to see my audience. What? No, I like the house lights up or a level where I can see people. Oh, no, we can't do that. And I'm like, no, you can. You just turn the light on.
Yeah, no, especially in Edmonton, you can. Like all the venues, I think, have that capacity in Edmonton. Like you can.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
It's just funny. I love speaking to performers about this stuff because we've all got those lovely little stories and we've all got that whole thing about, we get on stage and people see that lovely show, but there's a lot of stuff that we do in the background that nobody would even imagine, that we act like, why are you doing that? And it's like, because I'm the only person that can do it.
Oh no. And for me, like I went all out last year. I thought, you know what I'm going to do? Because a lot of my shows have just been me standing at a microphone. And I'm like, you know what? I want that extra half star. Let's get it up to 5 or 4.5 or whatever. Because you get like in front of a microphone, that's 4-star. You can get, I can get an easily 4-star review for me singing in front of a microphone. I was like, I need to up my production value. It's been a few years. I've done the easy way. So I had a set. I had props. I had a merch booth. And so you have 10 to 15 minutes and sometimes just 10. And sometimes the group after you, not in Edmonton as much, but at other festivals are not so amenable about not infringing on your time. So sometimes you have 4 minutes. So you're just like, you're just like running around like crazy, making sure all your props are where they're supposed to be. There's no time to vocally warm up. You barely have time to like make sure you're stuffed in your own bra, and so then you get out on stage and everyone's like, I'm so glad you've had time to like center yourself. Like, really? I'm here. So yeah. No, I get that. I love that. I'm also laughing because one of the things that's always come up is reviews. A lot of the performers talk about reviews. We've had it brought up, and I love that you're saying, 4.5, 5 stars. And I'm laughing because in Edinburgh, I got 5 stars. I came to Canada and they vanished. All of a sudden, I'm like getting 2.5 stars and going, what the heck? Oh, the Fringe reviewers over here. I'm not going to go into this again. This is one of my biggest bugbears of Canada. But it's a very strange thing. So I'm really happy to hear that you're saying you get 4.5, 5 stars. That's wonderful. Not always. Okay, guys, not always. There was one year here in Edmonton where I do a kids show. I do Opera Mouse. I'm actually leaning on the mouse right now. I needed something to make me look taller. So anyway, I do an opera show called Opera Mouse, and all the kids shows got 1.5 stars because it was a reviewer from a newspaper here that no longer, I think it was View Magazine when they had all those reviews. And some like 20-year-old was like, I'm going to be ironic. And all the kids shows got like 1.5, all of them. So, I mean, not all.
2 years ago, people were getting 0 stars.
Remember. I know.
Oh, yeah, no. That's the one thing. I remember having this lassie come into one of my shows and all the audience is in front of me and she sits at the far wing, sits chewing her gum on her phone.
Oh, and you're like, damn it, you're a reviewer, aren't you?
Yeah, she listened to 5 minutes of the show and that's all she reviewed. But yeah, I totally get it because they're just like, when you get them and they're not interested or they're trying to be ironic or they think they know what they're doing because no, that's horrible, Calum. Sorry. Did I just go there? Sorry. Because they're hiring a lot of the reviewers from just off the street. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, I know. I gotta say, like, I don't want to be like, I'm wonderful. I'm not saying that, but singing helps. I'm just saying, it's hard. If something's objectively decent, that does get you a few stars off the bat. So, I mean, it's not always, but that does help things. You should probably sing.
Oh, yeah. There is a problem. You said you don't dance. I don't dance or sing.
Okay.
You were talking about 70% of your show being singing and 30% being narrative.
Mm-hmm.
Well, About 80% of my show is ramble with 20% story.
Yeah, but you've got a Scottish accent, man. You can read the phone book. I'd be fine. I would buy a ticket. I would pay to
You know
watch
what? I have been told that so many times. I've had so many people come up to me at the Fringe and say, "Oh, I could just listen to you read the phone book."
Yeah,
and I want to do it. I honestly, I want to do a Fringe show and see people turn up, but I don't know if it's legal, because although that information's in the phone book, technically you're selling tickets to promote people's information, and I don't know the legality. So I'm still debating that one.
Fair enough. Fair enough. You could read an old phone book that doesn't exist. You know, if it's a phone book.
That's it. I was thinking Yellow Pages, because technically they're businesses, so it's free promotion.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, you should do it.
Yeah. Excellent. Oh, I love it. I love it. So Fringes have been good to you. Performance has been good to you. But that doesn't mean it's always good. So one of the questions I do like to try and get in if I get the chance is to basically ask about that moment that might have happened that you were just ready to walk away and leave it all. Have you ever had that brick wall moment where you're just like, no, I can't do this anymore?
Do you mean like mentally, or when you're like, I don't know how I'm going to get through this show?
Either is a good example. Either would work.
The problem with the show that's 70% singing is if you lose your voice, you are fucked. I know I said I wasn't going to swear, but like, you are fucked. And so
it's okay. I'll be, it's not live, so I'll beep it out for your mum. Okay.
Okay. Well, she can hear me anyway. So in Winnipeg, I was at Winnipeg Fringe 2 years ago. I was doing an opera show there with my friend Eden. We were doing a 2-person version of Carmen. I'd love to do that again. That was a great show. And I did a children's workshop, and some kid coughed in my face, and I got sick, and I lost my voice. And I was going straight to Edinburgh after that to do 3 shows a day. But I had 2 or 3 like one-off gigs in the UK first. You know, I figured it's fine. I can sing. I'm a tank. I can keep singing. So I lost my voice. I was doing I was doing Opera Mouse and then an Edith Piaf and Brel show, which is a fair amount of belting. So I got up on stage in the UK. I opened my mouth and like nothing came out. It was a full house, which in the UK, which in Edinburgh is a kind of a big thing. So I mean, it was a sold out theater. I had gotten one of those sold out awards the year before, so I had 5-star and 4-star reviews from the year before doing the same show. I looked out on this sea of 45. It was a small theater, 45 faces, and there was at least one reviewer, and I couldn't sing. And I was like, well, what do you do? There's an hour ahead of me. I was like, I can't do it. So basically I made it a sing-along, and a couple people sort of knew the music and they kind of sang, and I sounded terrible. And after I offered people their money back, and everyone was really nice and bought CDs because they felt bad for me. So it actually worked out okay. But when it ended, I was like, I have another show tomorrow. What am I getting? Like, there was one more show that day and another, and it was just, I don't know how I just lived. I was like, maybe I should go home and quit, because you don't want the review writing that you're terrible. That's the thing. I mean, when you're a singer, you don't want someone writing her voice is awful. They could say everything else is bad, but you don't want a published review saying you're a bad singer. Like, that is kind of, it's hard to get past that, because that's not like your show is bad, but your next show might be better. It's you are a bad singer. So, so I mean, everyone was, I don't know how I got through that. I got my friend to do the kid show as a 2-person show, so he narrated it, and I sort of croaked a little singing. So so that took care of the kid show, and I canceled a couple shows, but I got through the festival. But that was rough. I have to say that was
yourself Fisherman's Friends.
I tried everything, and it was one of these just there was no voice. Nothing comes out. What are you gonna do? So that was when I almost walked away from that festival, but I was in Scotland and it was raining and I didn't want to walk very far.
And you know what? Unfortunately, that makes it worse. The damp weather in Scotland. I wondered why when I came to Canada, my voice sounded a lot more robust. And it was because I discovered that I literally had a sore throat for the last 40 odd years while living in Scotland. It's an unhealthy place to be. It's wonderful. But no, wow, that is probably the most terrifying story I have ever heard. Because you hear about stage fright, you hear about those moments, but to physically not be able.
Yeah, and that is not the first time it's happened. I was actually singing with the National Orchestra in Prague. I was doing a classical concert. It happened then too. I have a recording of that one. I got through it, and it happened. Oh, where was I? Maybe it was Cambodia. It happened at another. There have been a few times where you travel, you get sick. Like, I don't get sick when I'm not, spending 12 hours a day in an airplane. So yeah, I mean, but I've had to do this. I was recording a CD in New York a couple of years ago, and I went in and all the musicians were there. I was paying them all by the hour, and there was like 6 of them, and I couldn't sing. And I didn't use my vocals. I used what they did, but it happens kind of regularly now that you mention it. But yeah, that for me, that's rough when you like physically cannot sing. There's no way around that. You can't do it. You can't do it.
Wow. That is tough. Yeah, I feel for you because yeah, I don't know what I would do. Because in a way, I mean, I'm in the same, well, a lot of us are, but I'm in the same boat because my whole show is just vocal, not singing, but it's it's a verbal show. You're a singing show. So it's that kind of same concept. If I got out there and couldn't speak, it's like, I've got nothing else. I could literally do a dance, but I don't dance. I could twirl in my kilt, but apparently there's obscenity laws.
I'm sure you're wearing underwear though. It's fine. I'm sure.
Yeah, of course, always. It's knitted tartan. We actually wear Harris tweed underwear because we like to suffer for our art.
And smell slightly like urine because it's Harris tweed, right? That's still that stuff is still done with urine, isn't it? It's done the old way. It is. I looked it up. It is. So, I didn't mean your urine. I meant stranger urine.
Oh, thank you. Just wait till I've taken a drink of water before bringing that up.
I'm here for you.
The old method, I think, was, but again, I think they had to sophisticate it, just like they did with everything. As much as I didn't want the UK to leave the EU did gentrify Scotland quite a bit. It forced us for things like haggis, to make it normal. For some of our processes, we had to adjust how we did things because apparently it wasn't the done thing in a civilized world.
You guys, even have vegan. You have vegan haggis now. That's so confusing.
That's just sacrilegious.
It's actually pretty good.
How do you veganize arseholes and eyeballs?
I don't know.
That just doesn't make any sense to me at all. Oh, yeah. So, Harris tweed, yeah, I don't know about that. I'll need to double check. I think they had to again. I think the idea of wading knee deep in urine was they decided wasn't the best thing.
I'm sure some people enjoy it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of clubs that probably still goes on. But I've got people, every time I mention haggis, it creates a big hoo-ha of people are basically saying it's wrong, haggis is wrong. And it's like, it's not. It's heavenly.
I mean, I've only had the vegan haggis, and not because I'm vegan, but it's just the other one. It hasn't come up yet. I would possibly try it.
Well, you know what? Over here, the problem is I've tried some haggis over here, and the one in Calgary is a bit too salty. The one in Edmonton's good, but they don't use enough rusks, so there's not enough. Haggis is a beautiful thing, but it's supposed to have a little bit of a texture to it. And over here, the way they make it, it's like chewing on I don't know, it's like mushy bread or something. It's that kind of. You're just kind of, and it's not very pleasant to eat over here.
Good to know.
And those facial expressions that this did, we'll again edit them out. Anyway, back to you. There's John supporting the haggis. See, there's a reason I love John.
I love you, John.
John, you are our favorite. Yes, John, I'm going to get John to co-host this with me.
That would be fun. Oh, he would have to only be allowed to speak in Shakespeare quotes.
Oh my God, that would be heavenly.
I know, he would do it too.
Oh, he would, yeah, but it's got to be could have him on as the insulter, just to come up with the best insulting Shakespearean quotes.
Twirl the mustache. Yeah, that would.
Yeah, I'm trying to emulate him, but doesn't.
I miss you, John.
Doesn't work. Okay. Where am I? We're getting close. That's what it is. We're coming up to that. As I say, I'm trying to keep these chats to the hour and a half. Okay. Mainly because I feel for my guests, it's not fair to have them rambling on for hours and hours, even though some of them would.
This is the only social life I've had in 5 months. So this is like having friends. This is so nice.
Actually, I'll tell you the truth. One of my friends needed some help yesterday. He needed some stuff moving, and a bit of labouring work would be the term. And personally, the concept of doing labouring work to me is very uncouth. I mean, getting dirty, heaven forbid. But I offered to help, and we were out for about 4 hours doing this. And I realised as he dropped me off, I'm like, do you know what? That's the longest I've been out the house since like March.
Wow.
Yeah, I've been very antisocial. For a social creature, I really don't like people now. They're very dirty creatures. No, I love people.
Yeah, they open their germ mouths.
Tell me, it's a very interesting question. I've not asked many guests, but how are you going to get back to it? This is one of the things that I'm a little bit worried about. We have now been performing for years, and all of a sudden that whole life has been shut off from us. But then there's going to come a day where we're going to be dumped in front of 5, 10, 50, 100, 1,000 people again. How do you feel personally? Is it going to take you a wee while to get back into it? Are you going to have that shock, or do you feel you're just going to flow again?
That's a good question. Well, I had a new show ready to go. I was 2 weeks away from premiering. Well, actually 4 weeks away from premiering like this year's show. So if it's the new show, it's going to feel a little weird because it was ready to go. But if it's one of the ones like the old warhorse of a show, I don't know how it'll feel. It's going to be weird if things aren't back to normal. It's going to be weird. If there's social distancing in the audience, and if everyone's like, "You're a super spreader because you sing," that's going to be weird. If suddenly the world magically turns back to normal, I think it'll be fine. But if there's all these, like, how are you supposed to sell merch if people have to stay 6 feet away? Like, I need your money, guys. I don't. That's a good question. I don't know.
Are you still practicing, or have you done like a lot of us? I mean, I'll be brutally honest. I haven't told a story in about 2 months.
Well, I've been writing a book about everyone's like, I'm writing a book during COVID. Well, I actually am. It's more than
I
learning
saw that, yes.
Yeah. So I mean, I've been doing that, which is a good excuse for not doing anything else. This is the thing. So I mean, I'm like, I should work on music, but I'm just gonna finish this chapter first. So it's been a very good excuse to not think about this. That's the thing. But I don't know. I've only, and plus I actually drove across Canada to Ottawa and back to Edmonton twice to help see my sister and help her with childcare. So, I mean, these were like sleep in the car, pee in a field, decide a field is too buggy, so just pee on the highway. Everyone's taking pictures of you.
Just pop a squat.
Okay. Yeah, like I'm like the Canada seen my bum. We're good. Someone had to see it this summer.
Darling, I think half the world's seen my bum. It's okay.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. You win. I'm getting there. So I've had a lot of things to do to not think about this, but now it's sort of like, well, it's fall, so like Australia's coming up soon, but we can't actually go to Australia because it's not safe and there's quarantine and we can't even get into Perth. So that's not happening. And my next bunch of gigs are in April. They're all the UK tour from last April has been moved to next April. So I don't know.
And the UK's figures are climbing ridiculously at the moment. Apparently it's the bloody youth of today. The 20s, 30s and 40s, which therefore classifies me still in the youth of today, which I find exciting. But yeah, unfortunately, their numbers are going up. So again, and like I've spoken to a few guests about this, but some bigger theatrical sort of events have been cancelled until June next year.
I know.
I think, was it Broadway is one? They've just said nothing until June or something, and a few others. So yeah, I don't quote me. I know there's a couple of big ones that have said no, we're cancelled until June. we're just holding off. But I have this concern of, I know a lot of performers keep up their trade, but one of our biggest things is, you know, we can rehearse and we can practice, but it's until we see the whites of their eyes. And we've all been so socially isolated. So it's not even a case of, you know, normally we'd be meeting people, but we're now like isolated with one or two people. So I'm curious to know how many of us are going to have a huge culture shock when we actually get that big audience again.
You know, honestly, I think more of a culture shock. It won't be performing for the audience. It'll be talking to people after the show or flyering for the show. Because, I mean, we're essentially alone on stage. You know, we're still alone. I mean, you know, I'm talking to myself all the time here because, you know, I have no friends here. So, you know, I mean, I think that performing, yeah, it'll be weird to have people there, but you keep your audience lights on. I don't. So, I mean, for me, I'm basically just playing with myself on stage, which is basically what I'm doing.
Phrasing.
Phrasing. But, you know, it's not going to be all that different. It's just going to be with the costume and some singing. But it's going to be the actual interacting with people and also other performers. Can you imagine talking to a person in a pub or flirting with somebody and being like, are you germy? Like, have you been tested? I don't know. Like, I can't. I mean, for COVID.
I would like to maybe kiss you at some point, but I'm afraid you're going to have to go to the testing station, and we'll wait for 3 days for the results until we decide if that will happen.
Yes, basically. So, yeah, I don't know if I want to have sex with that person is enough to expedite your test results to 24 hours. I don't know. So,
again, I will just say your mum's next door.
You know.
Anyway. So just a disclaimer for all the parents that may be watching who have performer family. We're actually very virtuous, innocent. We go to churches or gatherings where there's tea and biscuits and all just have a very nice social time. And then at the end of it, we all go back to our own abodes. No hanky-panky, no fumble, no the beast with two backs. It's basically all done and over.
Yeah, no, definitely. Also, yeah, I was definitely not going to talk about the other thing I've been doing during COVID at all.
Okay.
No,
I love it. So yeah,
what that thing is. You're supposed to ask
I don't know if I want to go for it. What is the other thing?
Okay, so I've been secret shopping sex toys because there is no other way to get income in the world. So yeah, I get sent sex toys and I have to write reviews of them. And they're, yeah, I a lot of them. I have a lot of them.
Okay, again, your mother.
So
does she know about this site?
She does. She does now.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is an exclusive. The first. Now, because Jessup's just said his toddler is loving this, I'm going to say the first intimate and interesting item that ever has been presented on the show, and I love it because that's what this show is about.
Like, I don't even know what to do with this. This is the first uncut one I've ever seen.
Oh.
So,
okay, can I just say the extreme close-up was not appreciated on that one? I'm going to have nightmares for the rest of my life for that thing coming towards me.
I've been hiding it around my mom's house so she has surprises in the morning.
Obviously, there's a slight delay on the show because I'm now hearing my wife roaring and bellowing in laughter upstairs.
Anyway.
Now, wait a minute. Somebody's asked, do you have a favorite or top 10 ranking system? But I need to double check what they're referring to now. Because I don't know if they're referring to what's just been revealed or...
I'd say this is like a 6.
A 6?
I mean, the wall is sticking, like, definitely. And you can, like, hang things on it, like your fringe access badge.
I love it. So... enticing, entertaining, and also functional.
like a princess from the Lower East Side.
Well, yeah. Now I get that quote. Your mum's never going to let you do a live stream ever again.
I'm never going to get dinner again.
Oh, someone's asking, can it hold a picture?
I don't know.
And Jessup is referring to the toys.
Oh, this is a picture of my grandmother.
Oh, yes, that's...
Yeah, I think it does. There we
go.
go.
You realize your mum is going to kick you out the house.
Yeah, no, it holds a picture, guys. This thing's great.
There you go. Christine, your question has been answered. Yes, it can hold a picture. So basically, you get sent these now to review them. So basically, you're spending a lot of time in your bedroom and it's very sweaty and smelly up there. Like a teenage boy who's just hit puberty.
I don't necessarily review all of them. I just get sent them, and a lot of them aren't for girls. So I'm getting a lot of like flashlight with a hole in it, and I'm like, I don't know. So I have a lot of extra sex toys, people. Yeah, it's been it's do what you gotta do, guys. It's COVID time. I'm an opera singer. This is what we do.
Yeah, that's it. It's good for working your lungs.
I guess.
It gets the diaphragm moving, you know.
Breath control, yeah.
Breath control. Sorry, I'm just looking at some of the comments here. Welcome to the Calum show, a full family experience.
I puppets.
Yeah, see, there you go, Jessup. Because your toddler's there, we've got the puppet back out. Thankfully, the sex doll has stayed hidden. Oh, gosh. Okay, so this is my beautiful wife. Any that make you hit the high note?
Yes, but not this. I've made him not. This is Martel, not Martel. But other. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Wait a minute. Anne-Marie wants to know how you get into this aspect of secret shopping. That's from John.
Anne-Marie, I will message her and I will hook a girl up. If she wants, I will do that.
Do you know what, Melanie? You've just made this one of probably getting up there to one of the better shows, but one of the most beautifully surreal shows, and I love it.
I'm here for you.
It's really funny because I'm trying to do another show, and one of the topics I was given was fornication. So I have got basically a Scotsman blathers about fornication. So I'm looking forward to doing that one. And now you have just given me another segment of the show.
Oh, I do what I can for the arts, you know.
Oh gosh, I'm sorry. All these comments are flying in now. This is so funny. Oh yeah, Christine's asking, so you'll need to go to the comments after. Christine's also asking how you sign up for that secret shopper.
I will send her a personal message and tell her how. If it's quite easy.
Apparently Jessup's interested as well, and I don't know if that's for him or his partner. I don't know.
I mean, I've actually some of my friends. I've actually some fringe performers I know, because a lot of this right now is actually in the States. There's very few they're sending to Canada, but luckily I had someone in the States who crossed the border. But a bunch of my fringe performing friends, I've been like, I'm getting a fleshlight. I don't need it. Would you like it? And they're like, I don't know. So a lot of my friends who are currently staying with their parents have had sex toys delivered to them. So
I love it.
My shows are all rated G. My audience is generally like 80, but I seem to be the sex toy person now.
No, I like. So there you go. So there's a new business, the opera sex toy girl. I don't know. I'm sure you know. There's ways we can do it. No, I'm actually curious about one thing, and it just dawned on me what you said, that you've never seen one that's cut before.
No, uncut. I've never seen one that's uncut before.
Uncut.
Definitely not circumcised. Look at it. No, definitely not. That's a foreskin.
That's true. Yeah. It's a very weird looking foreskin, but it's a foreskin nonetheless.
I mean, it was free though. Come on. I mean, it's free.
Yeah. And it's missing other.
Since we are talking about sex toys, though, as an aside, as someone living in Alberta, a few years ago, there was a report coming out of University of Alberta how a certain brand of vibrator, if you put it on your throat, it warmed up your voice for you. So for a while, a lot of people I know, including me, walked around with vibrators on our throats. They were clearly vibrators, not dildos, but they were clearly like sex vibrators on our throats. I was given one as a gift by a relative.
I
to help
love
me
it.
with my voice. So yes, it does help you hit the high notes, but like from the outside of you.
Oh man, Melanie, that's awesome. I love it. So I'm glad I now asked. I wasn't sure, but I'm glad I now asked. And certainly there has been the comments have tripled for just this tiny wee segment.
Good.
Okay, so I think we'll need to now change the show a bit. I think we're going to have to do sex review with Melanie added in every week. Shakespearean abuse by John. Just make it a cacophony of performers doing random stuff.
Right.
So how often do you get these things delivered?
I mean, they all came in a bunch because most of these came from the States. And so I had someone coming from the States. So they were like, here's what I'm doing. A relative of mine is also doing this. So I mean, we both, between us, we had like 42 boxes. And
well,
it's a long plague, guys. I mean,
that's seen you for a few months sorted then. It's one way to get through COVID. Okay, that's all I'm saying. It's one way.
One way, guys.
Yeah, just make sure no chaffing. Right, that's all I'm saying.
I'm not the one who's walking around Edinburgh in a kilt, a wet kilt with nothing underneath.
That was never proven. I told you, Harris tweed boxer shorts.
I forgot. You also said if you couldn't dance or you'd be arrested for showing off too much.
Yeah, because the Harris tweed boxer shorts are expensive, and if I show them off, and
you're right.
Yeah, it can cause riots. Okay, we're moving on.
Moving on.
We're moving on. I'm just checking your scenery. You didn't stick it to the back wall. We're good.
No, we're good. Back to family friendly.
Okay, back to family friendly. You know what? I can't remember what age Jessup's toddler is, but if they're that age, I'm so hoping that there's some really awkward questions now being asked in that household. But knowing Jessup and his partner, they're probably handling it in a beautiful, sophisticated manner.
It's like a bath toy. It's like a boat.
Well, if it was me, I would just be really blunt. Okay, because we're now getting on to 1 hour 24, so we're going to overrun. So, but you know what? We're having fun. But we're going to move on to our 10 quick-fire questions.
Okay, I'm ready.
And these are questions that were given by the audience members right at the beginning. So if you had watched the show, you would know some of them. It's okay. I'm glad you didn't, because Kurt had watched shows and deliberately thought about every answer. But
I'll just say something. You'll see.
His answers were amazing because he had thought about them. But I also like that spontaneous thinking process. So, are you ready?
I am ready.
Oh, where will we start? What's the worst job you've ever done?
Ooh. Oh, man. Okay, there's so many. Let's see. The worst job I ever did. I know this is supposed to be quick and spontaneous. There have been so many terrible jobs that I did over the years. I think, and this wasn't the job so much as the situation. I was working catering at Josh Bell. He's a famous cellist. He was having a party in New York. I was working catering, and then my singing teacher and a bunch of the other students walked in as guests. And I was like, hors d'oeuvre. It was really, really embarrassing. So this one,
this is the height of your
like that hurt. That one hurt. I've got a little bit. Yes.
I could get that. Yeah, mainly just pride. I get that one.
Here's another one. I thought of another one. I was doing, because in New York you do everything. I was doing a music video for a Bollywood movie. It was a Bollywood music video, and no, I'm not from India, but you do what you got to do, right? Like, it was fine. And I did the vocals on it, but then he said that I wasn't pretty enough to be the main character, so he made me the janitor in the music video, and someone else mouthed the singing for that. It's online. It's terrible. The video is terrible, but it's still on YouTube, I think. So
what a bastard!
No, that was when I was singing opera. Still,
but I mean,
anyway.
like, how rude, how insulting to say something like that to anyone.
No, it paid like $100. I needed the money. Come on, I needed the money.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, there we go. That's my answer.
Well, I feel for you, darling. That's rough. That anyone should ever say that is terrible.
I made a really
okay. Why did the chicken cross the road?
To get away from the comedian flyering for a show that starts in 5 minutes.
I like it. Comedians.
They're the worst, right?
They are awful. Awful. And then actors who do Shakespeare next, you know.
John, I mean,
jeez.
I know.
Oh, we're really having a go at poor John. He's such a lovely guy.
Oh,
okay,
John's wonderful. I love you, John.
Yeah, we love you, John. Honestly. Yeah, never forget that. You are loved. What's your favorite kitchen utensil and why?
My favorite kitchen utensil is a I don't even know what it's called. A little whisk, because you can use it for so many things. You can whisk like sweetener into your coffee. You can whisk milkshakes, and it's cute, and it costs like $1. So I would say a little whisk, and you can pack it to go with you if you want to.
Nice. Yeah, I like that. And oh god, yeah, John said in clowns.
Oh god,
nobody likes clowns. I would say though, mimes are the bottom of the barrel.
But at least they don't, talk at you because they're mimes.
Yeah, but they lock you in an invisible box and you can never find your way out.
True, that's true. That's the worst too. You're right.
It's so rude. And you're trying to fly or run for your show and you get locked in a box and they're just standing there going silently.
Okay. That's pretty bad. You're right.
Assholes. Okay. Pineapple on a pizza, yes or no?
Oh god, yes. And not only pineapple, banana. And that's something they do in South Africa. And you ask for it here and people look at you like you're crazy. So banana and pineapple. Absolutely.
Oh, I love it. I like tuna fish and banana.
Ooh. Like on a pizza or just like on
a pizza and a sandwich, it works.
Nice.
Yep. And I got that from an old British TV advert when the woman was pregnant and ordering it. And I thought, that sounds good. Like if you make it in a sealed toasty.
Okay.
Not or an open-faced toasty. Yeah. Oh. We bit of Worcestershire. God, it really should be a cooking show. Yeah, I like my black olives. So if I have a ham and pineapple pizza, black olives on it. Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet and salty. You can't beat it.
Yeah.
Lovely. So another vote for pineapple on a pizza. I love it. Thank you, Melanie. Yes.
You're welcome.
Oh, yes. You're a good guess. You're winning the prizes. How do you feel about garden gnomes?
My mom doesn't have any, so I can honestly say I think they're terrifying. But in Britain, they're adorable. So I guess it depends on the garden. Like here, you're just like, really? Why? You ruined your garden. But if you go to an English garden where things are sort of running wild and this cute little gnome peeking out, like, okay, I might take a picture of that to Instagram it. Maybe not, but I won't run screaming. Whereas here it's more of a run screaming situation.
Yeah. Yeah, I find them weird over here in the UK. That's a very valid point when I think about that, because people set them up in little cool kind of fairy realm ideas.
And I've never seen any in Scotland. That's why I said England. I've never actually seen a Scottish garden gnome or a Scottish garden, really, because by August, summer's over.
Swamp. We call them swamps.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got a garden gnome round the road, and it's one of the big ones. He probably sits about 4 feet high, but he kind of looks like he's getting ready to do that kind of gesture to somebody. I'm glad that was off camera, but you know what I mean? Just sticking the finger up, giving it the right kind of. And I always think, what a rude little bugger, because he's got that face where he looks like he's getting ready to do a very rude gesture to people.
Yeah. Oh.
So I'm not a fan of them here either.
Me either.
Good. Okay, you're stuck in an elevator with one person. Who is it?
Ooh.
Anyone.
All right.
Can be anyone alive or dead.
Anyone live or dead? Okay, if I'm gonna go with one person, I would say Sarah Connolly. She's an opera singer. She's an amazing opera. She's actually Dame Sarah Connolly. She plays pants roles like Julius Caesar. I would love to sing a duet with her. That is my bucket list, is to sing a duet with her as Julius Caesar and me as like anyone. She's really sexy. So yeah, it would be Sarah Connolly, and like primed and ready to sing and dressed in the full-on Julius Caesar costume. Yes.
Well, maybe if you send her some sex toys to entice her to do this duet.
You never know. You never know.
You never know. Good work. That could be your thing. I will bribe you with this. Wibble, wibble, wibble.
Or these. Anyway, yes.
Yep.
Wibble, wibble.
Which is the right way?
That's the noise it makes?
I just imagined it might be. I don't know.
Okay. I mean, you've got one. You should know.
Wibble, wibble, because of the flex. I don't know. Which is the right way to hang a toilet roll?
Oh, under. Going under. Not over. Under. Am I wrong?
Oh,
I don't know. I don't even think about it. I don't think I have an answer. I might be wrong.
Most people, it's over.
Well,
you have now hit the minority.
Ooh.
The problem with answering that wrong is there's a very good chance your door might get kicked in and men in black suits might drag you off somewhere and you'll never be seen again.
Is that a social life? Because I'll take it.
Hey, during COVID, we're all like, please come and kick in my door.
Exactly.
Okay, where are we? Gosh. Worst job. Oh, who would play you in a biopic of your life?
Oh, that's a really good question. You know what? I've got to say John Huston. I want to say that so badly. Yeah, I would say John. I want John to do it. Absolutely.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, but not.
I'm not entirely sure how he'd pull it off.
Oh, he'd do it. He would just do it straight. He wouldn't talk in falsetto. He'd just be John being me. It would be glorious.
But would he need to shave?
I mean, I would hope he feels he needs to shave, but he wouldn't, like, because I don't, but No,
I'm not saying you do. No, I'm not sitting here saying, love, you need to get that top lip sorted out. No, I'm not saying that. I'm basically saying, would he need to shave to play you? Because his beard is very much a part of John.
I know. I want the like curly mustache, because I would, whenever I do something dastardly, I would want, that would be like, So no.
And you do dastardly deeds every so often, do you? Is this another side of you we don't know about?
I mean, we only have an error. Yes. Sometimes. So yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I need to ask. What is the most dastardly deed you have ever done?
Oh gosh, I can't think of anything now. I don't know, lying and saying I was pregnant to become a body double on Law and Order. I mean, that was pretty. Where I met Kurt, where I got involved in the Fringe. Like, it all started with a big old lie to make $50. There was that.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Now, I've also got to say, John has just made a comment, which I think he's on the sherry now. This is definitely when I think John has hit the sherry after the gin and tonics, after maybe a single malt, after maybe a brandy. He's now on sherry or port stage, because basically when we said about shaving, his comment was just my legs and my junk.
I don't want to think of his junk. I am now. Well, John, don't worry. I've got something you can use when you play me.
Oh my God, I'm loving the interaction of some of the audience on this one. Okay. Oh yeah, I meant to say I was going to do this right. If you were stuck in an elevator with somebody, so you've suggested who you'd love to be. Who would you hate to be stuck in an elevator with? I'm just curious.
Oh, I'm trying to think of someone we both don't know. How about any performer who just got a 2-star review and is bitter about it?
Oh, that's me.
Oh, okay, you. I would, oh dear, but I mean, you're Scottish. That would be okay. Yeah. No, that's basically it. Any performer who's on a rant about their 2-star review, it's one thing if you're like in a pub and can just sort of, leave. But if you're in an elevator.
That's it. The next time we're at the Fringe at the same time, I'm going to go out of my way to get a 2-star review and then find an elevator and break it while you're in it, just so I can go.
Fine. And I will listen to you patiently. And I don't even know. Yes, it'll be so nice to have a social life. We can do this. It'll be okay.
To be honest, after this, you won't care. Like, you'd be happy to be stuck in an elevator with anyone, even if, like, just simply to converse.
I know.
Okay. What superpower would you want, and would you use it for good or evil?
Ooh, definitely flight, and I would definitely use it for evil.
Do you know what? Virtually every performer, John said the same thing, apart from most of them don't say evil, but flight is the one.
Because, like, we travel so much, and, like, even just to get from venue to venue at a Fringe, or to just, you know what? I would love, yes. That's
However, I did point one flaw. Would you ship your luggage beforehand, or would you be attempting to carry it while you fly? Because then you have another issue. You would need strength.
I would probably
the airflow, the pressure.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't plan on flying super high, just like a little. I would not be carrying my stuff. If I were a superhero, I would find someone with the power of strength and offer to flyer for them for an hour, and they would take my stuff. We work something out.
I love it. Do a crossover. That's nice. Oh, some more comments here. Just checking.
Is it John again?
No. John's on 2 ports and 4 sherries, if I'm reading that right.
Wow.
Yeah, but like when he says a port and a sherry, we all think a wee kind of nip, but no, he's probably talking about the bottle. Yeah. Okay. John's a lush. Okay, we're just saying this. He's a bit of a lush. We love him, but he's a lush. Okay. Oh, I can't believe we're picking on this poor lovely man. Okay. 2 more questions left. And where are we? Okay. What is your musical artist guilty pleasure?
But it's a secret though. Bluegrass music. And not everything. That was not everything. There's very specific bluegrass country songs. Like it's not like the full genre, because some of them are terrible. But yeah, no, when I'm driving across Canada alone in the car for 46 hours, that is largely what I'm listening to. And I know every word. So yeah, that is my musical guilty pleasure. You say you're listening to opera, but you're not doing that.
Yeah. No, that's good. I like it. That works.
And I'm not, I should be ashamed of it, but I'm not ashamed of it at all.
You get pulled over by the police, quickly change the CD to opera. Yeah. No one's any the wiser.
Yeah, and they'll be like, oh, here's a port and a sherry. Yeah.
Yeah. The po-po can be sophisticated too.
Yeah.
Okay, last question. Are you ready?
Yes.
And this one I'm really curious about, because I'm wondering if this may have ever happened to you. There's something about you, there's a bit of sass in you that I'm thinking this may have happened somewhere. But you're in a bar, you're having a few drinks, and somebody starts to get a bit mouthy, and you realize it's time to fight. What is the musical soundtrack that starts playing in your head?
Ooh, that's a good question. Probably the music from Kill Bill. What was that song? Whenever they fight, they played that song. I can't remember it now.
Oh,
Or how about Staying Alive, the disco song? Disco, Staying Alive. I think
Bee Gees classic.
Yeah, it would be Bee Gees. It would be a dance fight.
I like it.
That's what it would be, actually, because you'd have to sort of dance, which I would do, I suppose, there. Dance and fight.
And you can get your hips and your shoulders really going. And then every so often you've got that really aggressive point. Okay. I think if you brought that to a bar fight, it would be an offensive weapon.
I suppose.
You know, that adds, like, if you're just poking people's eyes out with your fingers, that's okay. But if you actually start trying to stab them with a dildo or something, I think there's going to be issues.
You're probably right. But, you know, I haven't actually gotten in a bar fight yet. There's time. There's time. There's time.
You're still young.
More or less.
A little bit of argy-bargy in a bar is always worthwhile. You know, if you've not done it, trust me, it's hellish, it's terrifying, but you know what? If you survive, you come out of it feeling like Hercules. Even if you didn't do anything, even if you hid in the corner, you come out of it feeling like Hercules.
Next year in Scotland, we will get in a bar fight with each other.
Okay, that's not the place to get in a bar fight.
Each other.
Okay. When we do bar fights in Scotland, we really go to town. Like,
We'll meet in Edmonton at Steel Wheels and we will get in a bar fight.
Oh, that's easy. That would just be like someone will throw a bit of a spring roll at someone and they'll call it they'll say sorry and that'll be it.
You'll say sorry.
Canadians too bloody polite. Okay. Well, wait a minute. We've got more comments coming in here.
Here.
This is the best three-way ever. Oh, John. I think he's now he's basically scraping the bottom of the drinks cabinet, trying to fight. He's probably licking the stains off now with these. Yeah, like these are comments not of a.
I miss you, John. Oh, there's no one to insult. Anyway.
I love it. And I'm not even going to read the last one from Jessup about who doesn't want to be stabbed with a dildo in a bar fight.
You just did read it. Anyway.
Oh my God. I love my audience. I love my guests. Thank you so much. This has been a delightfully surreal edition. And this is what I want. I want the chaos, the mayhem, but also people hopefully have found out something about you. Maybe a little bit too much about
I mean, I'm a kids performer. Largely, I perform for children. This is going to be great.
I love it. Yeah. This is going to be the next. Basically, I want the next flyer that you do for the Fringe holding that saying, let's have a song and dance with the microphone, kids.
Of course. Oh, well, our careers are all over anyway. It doesn't matter.
That's it. Yeah. Basically, we're relegated to the Z list and I don't know, singing on street corners or something. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
Who knows? Okay. Last question before we wrap it up, Melanie. This has been an absolute joy. I probably haven't laughed this much or been so shocked, but not in like a prudish way, just in the I did not expect that. That was the last thing I expected, and I'm so delighted.
That's I'm going to use that quote. That's the last thing I expected.
Yeah. Yeah. A giant cock on my screen was just not like that was the last thing I thought would come from an opera singer.
A former opera singer. Anyway.
Oh, I'm calling you an opera. You're a singer. You're a performer. You do it all. Oh, okay. I'm just thinking my last question, and I'm like, I really don't know if I want to ask you this one.
I mean, I haven't even gotten to there were so many things I wanted to talk about. We did at the time I performed at a nudist resort last year. We didn't even get to that. Anyway, last question.
Okay, second last question. Nudist resort. How did that one come about?
I was actually secret shopping a nudist hotel in Mexico, and I met some people who lived in Florida on a nudist resort. And when I was at the Orlando Fringe, they invited me to do my show there, naked. So I did. It was great. And then everyone from there's so many people who lived in this community came to my show and sold out the show. It was great. They were so nice. The people were incredibly nice. It was, except for I don't know if you know love bugs. There's these bugs and they're disgusting and they're everywhere in Florida and they're just swarms of bugs when you're naked. They get everywhere. But singing naked on stage for a ton of people was probably the coolest experience I had in 2019. So you know what? If a plague was going to come and shut the world down, I am sincerely glad that I got to do that because it was amazing. Twice.
I love it. This is like, you're a dark horse, madam. A dark horse.
I know.
I thought I was going to have this very polite, sophisticated chat, and I'm just like, this is so much better than what I thought it was going to be.
Oh, thanks. I hope all the guys say that to me. Right, John?
Oh, I really need a sound effects board. I really need a sound of that, madam. Beautiful.
Last question.
Oh my God, John, I got a love bug once. Penicillin cleared it up. He is 5 sheets to the wind. I have never, ever heard John. Like, even, I kid you not, me and John have been in some offy states, like when we've ran into each other or even had drinks in Steel Wheels. And I have never heard John make such lurid, suggestive comments. I am mortified. I'm never going to be able to look at him the same way.
I never can either. Okay, last question.
But why are you laughing so much?
No. I'm just saying this is last question.
I feel like something's been hidden.
Nothing. No, John and I are strictly friends. I just make fun of him a lot, and he's
Right.
a very good sport about it. But
And John, by the way, I always found a wire brushing Dettol was better than penicillin.
Oh God, I've never had a love bug. For the record, people, if anyone's out there, I've never had a love bug.
Okay, so basically what Melanie's saying is she's clean, she's pretty, she's available, and for the right person.
And I don't have COVID because I was tested, so I'm good. Yeah.
So this has now just become not just a chat show about performers, it's now become a lurid sex show where we're now trying to sell off one of our guests to the highest bidder.
Really, the highest? Wow, I didn't know.
We're not selling you cheap, love.
Great. Great.
Oh my God. Right. Let's wrap this up before Facebook or YouTube closes it down.
Okay. Fine. I'm ready. Plus my phone has like 6% left.
Oh my God, yeah. Okay.
It's going down.
You dafty. Okay. Oh, I'm dreading the answer to this. You're an experienced performer. You've been doing it for years. You've traveled worldwide. You know, you've done some amazing stuff. I mean, some fantastic things. If you met somebody just coming into the industry, would you, what words of wisdom could you give them? What Yoda moment could you impart to a new performer?
I actually have a good answer for that, like a legitimately good answer. And I've actually done workshops. I've done 2 workshops on this. And this is what I tell people is find a niche. Don't just, so many people are like, I have to tell my story. And I'm like, please tell me it's not about like some moment where you had a revelation about a thing or like your illness or whatever it is. And they're like, but it is. And you know, I'm doing this theater for me. And I'm like, no, don't do it for you. People who do shows for themselves, like as therapy or as whatever they, or to prove to themselves they can do it, or as a hobby, or just whatever reason, that is not why. There are already there's so many shows about people surviving like assault and cancer, and those are important, but they're already out there. Like there are really good shows about that already happening. So if you're looking to do a show and actually are doing it to sell tickets, and don't just like, if you actually want it to be a success, don't do it for you. Think about, I mean, the audience doesn't owe you to come to your show. And because I've had so many people doing that kind of show, you know, they're flyering it and they're like, you know, you should see this show because you should. And I'm like, but really why? So if you're doing a show, do it like my show about historic knitting songs. They're knitting songs from World War I and II. No one else did that research. No one else found that music. And there's a lot of knitters out there. So I found a niche, I filled the niche, and people are coming because they want to see what all the fuss is about, I guess. I don't know. But you know, I mean, and you can do serious shows, but find a niche, find a topic someone isn't doing, and sort of understand why you're doing a show, and don't just say because I want to. I guess that would be it. But honestly, there's a lot of good niche shows doing excellent business out there. I mean, I do it because I love to do it, but I also do it to make money. So if you actually are doing this to make money, unless you're at the top of your game and can do whatever you want, pick a topic that people will want to see. Like go about it like marketing, not about like what your heart says.
Yeah.
I guess that would be my advice. And also like, oh my God, just get a good elevator pitch. Just get a good 10 seconds of why someone should come to your show and practice it in front of the mirror. Don't just sort of kind of know what you're saying, because every person is a walking $10 or $20 bill at a festival, and you just want that walk into your theater.
Yeah, that is brilliant advice, and I 100% agree. Basically, a lot of performers don't realize that you do it for the audience, not for yourself. This is a business, and basically, if you don't find something that your audience wants, it's not going to work. And yes, the self story, the self performance, some people get away with it and it does work, but no, it's like, make the show. I'll be honest, I'm the lazy performer. I go in and basically say, right, what story do you want to hear? And I get my audience to tell me themes, emotions, and I make the setup for them on the spot, because I'd rather them get what they want to hear than me thinking what they want to hear.
But you're a consummate professional. You're really good at that. So if someone who's never acted before is like, I'm going to do a show and do that, and they don't do it well, I mean, you're already out there doing it well. And there are people already out there doing the personal narrative shows or the personal triumph shows incredibly well. So if you can't do it that well, don't do it. Do something else. Like pick something else theatrical to do. I guess that would be my advice. And learn how to write a press release.
Indeed. I've just realized somebody has come on called Garden Gnome, and I don't know who it is, but I love the fact that, and I don't know if someone's made up this account just because of this, or if this is a real person. So Garden Gnome, welcome. But sadly, we are about to wrap up the show. Melanie, I want to thank you so much for joining. I know you've only got probably 3% on your phone. I can't believe you didn't plug it in. Really?
I mean, no one ever calls me. I didn't think about battery.
But I want to thank you. You have been an amazing guest. This has actually been a beautiful example of what I want this show to be. Random fun, but also giving the audience some understanding and learning about yourself and who you are. So thank you for helping me fulfill that. And you have been the most surprising guest today, and I love that.
Well, thank you for
ladies and gentlemen, Melanie Gall, the fantastic singer. I'm going to call her an opera singer because to me, that's a wonderful thing. And I know you say that that's not something you do anymore, but that's where you started, and that's always in your heart. So Melanie, I'm going to pop you back into the green room while I wrap up, and I will come and get you in a couple of minutes just to thank you personally after we finish the show. So please make sure your battery doesn't die.
Okay, got it.
Okay. But ladies and gentlemen, let's thank Melanie one last time. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Wow. I don't know what to say about this show. That was phenomenal. That was brilliant. I've had such a good time. I don't think I've laughed. In fact, I always probably say that. I always laugh with my guests because I love the people that I'm talking to. They're unique and funny and wonderful. And tonight we've had one of our previous guests entertain us with comments as well, which is why I love doing what I do. Melanie has been phenomenal, shocking, delightful, entertaining. Her mum is going to kick her out the house now because she's revealed all these secrets that basically she probably hadn't told her dear mother. So please, Melanie's mother, don't kick her out of the house for her secret sex industry. So don't do it to her. But folks, I want to thank you very much. I've had a great time. Thank you for the comments. Jessup, John, I see Elaine was there. Krista, there's probably a few people made comments and asked questions. Thank you all for supporting this show tonight. And thank you all for enjoying it. I will leave you to get on with your evening. Do remember, though, if anybody is interested in becoming a guest, if you are in the performance community, do drop me an email at calumlycanstoryteller@gmail.com and jump on board. We have our next Fringe guest, DK Reiner. No, I'm going to spell it, say Reinemer. I think it is. My apologies, DK. He is our next guest, our last Fringe guest of August, and he will be on next Thursday. Same time, same place. DK is a comedian, improviser, and just a bloody lovely guy. So I'm really looking forward to having a chat with him next week. But before that, the new show has been adjusted in title because I realized I needed to adjust the title. It's no longer A Scotsman Talks About. It's A Scotsman Blathers About, because I realized that I like to blather. I like to talk, meander, go off topic, change the subject, forget what I was saying, forget the point of what I was saying, maybe get back to one of those topics, go round the houses a couple of times, have a cup of tea, and hopefully eventually get back to the original topic to finish off. It is the sign of a professional blatherer, which is me. So on Monday night at 8 p.m, same place, join me for A Scotsman Blathers About, and the subject is Castle Huska, a fantastic place, which, if memory serves, is in, I think it's at the Czechoslovakia, Czech Republic, not Czechoslovakia, that place is over. It's out there in Europe, and it is dubbed the Gateway to Hell. So please join me on Monday night as we'll be chatting about that, talking about some gruesome and grisly, having some fun, and that's A Scotsman Blathers About. And next Thursday, same place, same time, we have DK Reinemer on A Scotsman Talks To. But you have been a wonderful audience. This has been a wonderful show, and I want to thank you all for joining. It's been a pleasure. Much love. Have a wonderful night. I'm now going to be signing off, and I'll see you all on Monday.